Hell yeah. What's up, Just Another Car Show people? Thank you so much for tuning in again. Today we are reviewing the 2021 dual motor 408 horsepower Polestar 2. It's made by Volvo because when you look at it, you might think XC40. Volvo and Polestar want you to completely forget that they're the same company. Don't even think of them as the same entity. So today the model we're looking at is the dual motor 408 horsepower performance model Polestar 2. So if we really honestly want to compare this to another car, we have to look at the Tesla Model 3 Performance Edition, because if we look at the base Model 3, there's a $20,000 difference. The base Model 3 is only $40,000. The Performance Edition is around $60,000 MSRP. So we'll have to honestly compare this to the Tesla Model 3 Performance Edition. Looking at specs for the Model 3 versus this, you got a 330-mile range on a full charge for the Tesla Model 3 Performance. With this guy, and it pains me to say it because I've been charging it up so many times this week already, you only get 230 miles for a full charge. First thing I really noticed about the exterior of this car is the attention to detail. If you look at something like the brakes, these huge gold Brembo brakes. Apparently gold is Polestar's new color, and you'll see that on the seat belts that look like they're coming from a GT3. The other thing I really like about the exterior of this car is the name Polestar is not planted anywhere except for a tiny spot on the taillight. You'll see more attention to detail in the way that the tail light lights up and greets you as you're walking up to the back of the car. Especially the way the trunk opens with the whole hatchback feature. There's so much space in the rear storage when you get access to an almost hatchback style crossover. Again, Polestar with more attention to detail with the logo light on the top of their panoramic sunroof. Honestly, the panoramic sunroof in this car is beautiful because there's no bar in the middle like the Tesla Model 3. It just stretches the entire way back. And for some reason, you never feel like the sun's beating down on your face when you're sitting under that. Huge factor that I noticed between the Tesla Model 3 and the Polestar 2 here is the build quality. Because we know Tesla's under huge demand and they're pumping out vehicles. And sometimes you can look at body panels and see bumpers are not lined up, door panels are not lined up. But if you look here, you'll notice that literally there's a perfectly even line down the entire door panel and then even down the front bumper. There's literally not a panel on this car that you feel is misaligned or unaligned. And they just you can tell they put the time working on the details of this car, and I just really appreciate that, exterior and interior. Moving to the interior, the first thing you'll notice is the center dash cluster. It's huge, it's bright, it's got a nice little button feature where you can throw your entire Google Maps up to the center. Very unlike the Tesla Model 3. I know a lot of people have complained about the Tesla Model 3 not having a center dash cluster. This has been really nice, really enjoyable, and really clean. The other thing I really like about the interior is the low seating. I know that there's a lot of weight in the bottom of a car like this, and I know that it's a heavy car, but they at least position the seats low so you do feel like you can get a little bit of a sportier drive to it. There's tons of storage in the car. The trunk space is unreal. There's a lower trunk section. There's even storage in the front. The frunk in this car is not as big as the Tesla Model 3's, but it's still huge. And just overall storage for an EV car is exactly what you'd expect. So Polestar really did a good job with the attention to detail. We were noting that on the outside of the car, but on the inside of the car, one mistake they made is giving you this really fingerprinty black gloss center cluster and pads on the steering wheel for your controls. It's just a stupid design flaw. Everything gets dirty within 30 seconds of using it. The center dash cluster shows your battery percentage at all times, so you can always see how you're dropping very quickly in this car and always running to the nearest charger. Climate controls in this car are crazy, almost as good as the Tesla, I would say, on the same level. There's a little swipe up feature on the center iPad that works really well. The backup and 360 cameras are exactly what you'd expect for any car that costs $72,000. The sound system is a Harman Kardon, which sounds amazing. Isaac was bumping some Young Thug on the way up here. It sounded beautiful, crisp. So just like before with the brake calipers, the Brembo brake calipers, Polestar's going with gold as their main color. Honestly, these kind of look like the GT3 seatbelts. I had a friend text me after seeing a Snapchat. He was like, "What are you driving right now, bro?" So a lot of people might think that this shifter is a really weird shape and a weird grab, but I kind of like it. And let's just give it a throw and go for a drive. The first thing you're going to notice when driving the Polestar 2 is the fact that it weighs 4,700 pounds. You're not going to hear me say that enough. They did do the right thing being an electric car and placed all the batteries in the bottom of the car, so it does still have a low center of gravity. And then again, having all-wheel drive with a low center of gravity is not a bad combination. The other thing you're going to notice off the bat is the one pedal braking and the automatic braking. Very similar to the Tesla. The Polestar 2's automatic braking was, I felt, a little smoother than Tesla's. The settings for it were really nice and really convenient and easily adjustable. Initially, I drove the car with the one pedal braking off, but I noticed that your meager 230 mile battery range wore out even faster when you didn't have the automatic braking set to on. Therefore, I opted to using it at almost all times. That 230 miles really hurts. The other factor of the one pedal and automatic braking is how weird the gas pedal feels. Sam drove the car and Isaac drove the car, and neither of them were happy with the gas pedal and how it felt. But honestly, I felt that after driving it for a day or two and adjusting the automatic braking and the one pedal braking to my liking, it was not too bad of a drive. It is a weird factor to get used to when driving electric cars. All in all, I feel the one pedal braking and the automatic braking in the Polestar 2 is a little bit better than the Teslas I've driven, but overall that's just still a really tricky and kind of weird thing to have to learn coming from driving gas cars. Now, the model we drove did have the performance dampers, and the ride quality of the Polestar 2 was overall pretty good. I would expect potholes and suspension to be a little bit smoother, considering the fact the car cost $72,000. But the ride quality in general was good, and I feel like the Polestar 2 is trying to be a little bit more of a sporty vehicle, so maybe they applied a stiffer suspension with that in mind. The speed is insane, as any other electric car is. The immediate boost of power is just nothing like you're going to get in a gas car. Handling and braking, honestly, better than I anticipated them being. The handling aspect of the Polestar 2 was deceitful. I honestly hate electric steering. It's not something I'm a fan of, but the Polestar 2's electric steering was tricky enough in the sense that it made the car feel lighter than it really was, coming in again at 4,700 pounds. It's a ridiculous weight for a car of that size. So the electric steering did make the car feel a little bit lighter and quicker. Braking was insane. You saw the huge freaking Brembos this thing has from earlier in the video. Those things are going to stop on a dime every time. I would love to have those on the Miata. The car would stop in 5 feet. So all in all, I'm going to give the driving experience of the Polestar 2 a 7 out of 10. I feel that even though the car is heavy and it is an electric car, they didn't try to reinvent driving in kind of the fashion I'm seeing Tesla try to do. They just seem to try to apply electric motors and electric power to the way we drive now, with the adjustability and the ease of use of your automatic braking and creep and several features that you can really make the car feel like a gas car if you want to. But all in all, you kind of need to use some of those features to maintain your 200 meager helpings of a 230 mile range.
All right, so final thoughts on the Polestar 2. Just comparing it again to the Tesla Model 3 Performance Edition. So the Polestar, Polestar did an excellent job building a first ever electric vehicle as a company. I think that, again, they did a great job paying attention to detail. I think it's a great car, but not for the price tag. For $70,000, you can get any other Performance Model 3 Tesla. You could even look at Tesla Model Ys. There's plenty of other options in that price range. And I think, honestly, the biggest kryptonite that this car has is the 230 mile charge range. Unless you have a home and you're charging it every single night, I just don't think it's worth the price tag and worth your time driving it. Stick with the Tesla Model 3 Performance. Definitely check this out as a fun car to just drive once or twice, but stick with the Tesla Model 3. Thank you so much for watching. If you live in LA and you want us to review your car, hit the link below. Please like, please subscribe. Thanks again so much for watching. Have a good one.